it's Sylvia. I really apologize. It's been like a year and a day. Literally. I am horrible at being consistent on my videos, but welcome to my channel. I talk about faith and life and wisdom and everything that you need through the Word of God to get you through life. I have such great testimony that has occurred since the last time I made a video, which was like 2020, 6 years ago, basically. But I'm here. I'm here and we got a lot to do. You're going to love it. And I pray that you are absolutely blessed by this story. So, what has happened since the last time I made a video? God. Okay. So, if you've been following me since high school, which was many, many years ago, at least a decade. I know I look like I'm still in high school, but trust me, I'm a grown adult, very old. But if you've been following me, you know I have lots of words of wisdom to teach, and I'm very prophetic, I'm very deep. I love the Lord, and the Lord has been faithful throughout my life, the ups and downs, and He has not failed me, and He's not gonna fail me. Why am I making this video? Because I want to encourage you, and I want to teach you and show you how the Lord really works. So, what has happened? Okay. I've been in school for many years. I love school. I love learning. I love mentoring and teaching and showing my gifts. Many of you know I love the arts. I sing, I paint, I draw, I dance, and again, I love the Lord. But for many years, I kind of struggled to figure out how to connect the two. But then eventually, the Lord answered me through prayer, through prophecy, and where I am today is by the grace of God. So I moved to Texas, and this is where the story has been continuing. But where did I start? I have been making my videos, at least high school, um, in New York, where I lived for, again, many, many years. I went to undergrad in New York as well. And then life circumstances, through the Lord's pushing, I moved to Oklahoma. And that's where I really grew and matured, because living in New York and moving to Oklahoma is like moving to the United States all over again. And the vibe is different, the people are different, but the Lord pushed me because He had a purpose for me. And I had to leave my comfort zone to be able to be used by the Lord the way He wanted done. That's where I really, really grew. What did I come to do in Oklahoma? So after I graduated with a bachelor's in health science. And in my junior year, I was like, I had plans to go to med school. But then through the past 3 years in undergrad, I'm like, I don't know. I love science, I love learning, I love the human body, but I don't think that's my vibe. In high school, in which I graduated, salutatorian, it's a great expectation that you're gonna do something great, like massive, and be genius, and do great things. Cool. So I felt the pressure that apply to an undergrad that had a med school. So that's what I did. But the Lord had a different purpose for me. I was making plans in my heart, but the Lord had different steps for my feet. I started losing the passion and the drive for med school. But I wanted to be a pediatrician. And I was dreaming a lot about children and babies and taking care of babies and all that. But none of it made sense. So I really struggled until the Lord spoke through on one of my family members that go the path of pharmacy. So, my senior year, I decided that I'm going to go the pharmacy route. The work life balance was good. I didn't have to be in med school and residency and all that for 8 years. I could just go to pharmacy school. I had the prerequisites and everything. It's 4 years, pays well. Cool. I love how chemicals work in the body. Cool. So, that's when the prophetic stuff started really happening, honestly. While I was in pharmacy school, or even before. Yeah, before I even got to pharmacy school. My mom had a dream that I was around medications and there was an elixir on the wall and stuff like that. Stuff, clinical stuff that wasn't necessarily medical in the route of an MD. And it didn't make sense to any of us. But after I graduated from undergrad, I moved to Oklahoma and that's where I attended pharmacy school. Usually, when you apply to med school or pharmacy school or any professional degree, the smart person, the wise person would, apply to more than one. But I felt it so deep in my heart that the Lord had a purpose for me in Oklahoma, though I didn't want to move there. Like I said, Oklahoma and New York are very different vibes. But one day I had visited Oklahoma. I was like, I went to OU, by the way. OU really encapsulated the whole state. I was like, and I was looking and looking. I'm like, I'm gonna go there one day. Yeah, this is my school. There were two pharmacy schools in Oklahoma. It's either SWASU or OU, and I was like, OU's the one for me. So I didn't apply anywhere else in undergrad. It's a very risky move. The week that I applied, I had a dream that I got into OU. I saw a letter arriving in the mail. It was red, branding and everything. I was like, oh, the Lord is speaking to me. So I calmed down and I had the faith. This is what the Lord wanted. It was a confirmation. I got in. Fast forward, I finished pharmacy school 4 years, right? You know, when most people think about a pharmacist, they're thinking retail. But pharmacy has so much, so much. You can work in academia, you can work in a hospital, you can work in ambulatory care, you can work for the government. But I got right into retail, though I originally wanted to do a residency. I was not happy. I was like, Lord, I thought you wanted me to do pharmacy. Like, okay, I'm here, but I hated my job. I worked for one of the big brands for almost 2 years, and my mental health was just declining like really bad. I was like sad. I didn't feel like I was utilizing what I learned in school to really help people. I really felt that I was just being used as a placeholder to sell medicine. I didn't like that. I wanted to teach. I wanted more. I wanted more. So every new year, how people do like New Year's resolutions and stuff. I love to learn, like I said. So every new year, I try to learn a new skill. Sometimes some things fall through. I don't follow through. Like, for example, like playing a ukulele. I'm like, that was one New Year's resolution. I bought one, played for like a couple months, and I was like, not for me, right? So when was this? The last year of pharmacy school, one of my New Year's resolutions was that I wanted to either volunteer more in like the food pantry or learn a new hands-on skill, something like that. One of them came through, and it was the hands-on skill. So in October, something crazy happened. But let me fast backwards. 2018, I was still in pharmacy school, and in one of my churches, um, was a prophetic man, love him. Matthew is his name, and God bless Matthew. The Lord spoke to him, and he said that I was going to find solutions for people. Um, and I was wearing the same glasses and all that. I wrote it down, kept it in a safe place, and went on with my life, right? Prayed about it, of course. And okay, fast forward now to 2023, 2022, 2021. This New Year's resolution, right? I was like, I hate my job in retail. This is so bread and butter, makes good money, but I'm not really satisfied. So I was like, I'm gonna learn a new skill. And I got into soap making. It was between soap making and resin crafts. But soap making stuck with me. And even Matthew mentioned the same thing I said a few minutes ago about, Matthew knows about me, so that I love the arts, that I'm into medicine and clinical stuff, but I need to find the link between the two. And it bothered me for years because he reiterated something I've been struggling with since high school. So then um I got into soap making. The first batch of soap I made, I was successful. I made it in my apartment. I loved it. My whole apartment smelled amazing. I made bars of soap. I love creating things. And I was like, this is beautiful. But then ever since I made that batch of soap, I couldn't stop thinking about soap. It was the craziest thing. Then crazy stuff started happening. I couldn't sleep because I was dreaming about soap. What soap am I gonna make next? What scents do I want to put in this? Who can I share the soap with? Blah, 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 blah. I couldn't stop. To the point where it overpowered any remaining joy I had in retail, pharmacy. And then one day I said, I'm going to quit my job. I hate this place so much. I'm going to quit my job. Knowing myself, it's not something I would ever do to quit my job. And I haven't found another job to replace that. What am I going to do with soap making? You know? So, October, I quit my job. I hadn't found a new job. I had a lease that was ending in January. And I felt so much pressure on my heart that I had to quit my job that day that I quit my job. I had to put in the resignation that day. I put in the resignation, and things started rolling again. It's like, what is happening to me? People thought I was crazy. People know Sylvia wouldn't quit. She's very organized, very type A. Like, she wouldn't take risks like that. But I took a risk like that because I took a risk before moving from New York to Oklahoma. It's like, if I didn't do that and take a big risk moving across the country, the Lord's got me, right? You know? Fast back again while I was in undergrad, my mom had another dream that she saw me in Texas and I was in a hospital and there was a doctor and I needed to be more bold to reach out to him and ask him a question or something like that. But in this same hospital, there was a man named James. And that's what she told me. And I was like, okay. Kept that also in my mind. What is the Lord trying to tell me about this? So then I quit my job and I started applying to other places just to get out of retail. I kept getting denial after denial after denial after denial, hospitals denial. I'm like, some places were even putting hiring new grads. Da, da, da. I'm like, this isn't, why isn't this working? to the point where I literally just had to apply to Texas because I remember that dream my mom told me. Nothing in Oklahoma was working. So, funny story. I get hired at one of the hospitals, big hospitals in Texas, in the DFW area. Guess what the name of the HR guy is? James. I get hired in December. I move at the end of January because my lease was over. People really thought I was crazy. Why is Sylvia like feeling so much pressure to move? The Lord was speaking because the Lord had a place and a plan and a purpose for me in Texas. And I did not understand, but I had to move with so much faith, right? So I get here. My soap stuff is still escalating. The Lord wants me to start an LLC. So I started an LLC called Sylvia's Artistry. And I kept that name because I'm an artist. And I was like, well, if I want to link the two, self making, I guess I'll figure it out, right? So I started an LLC out of faith. I'm new in Texas, don't know anyone. I get married and I'm situated. But what about the hospital job? Do I like the hospital job? Yeah, I do. I love the hospital job. The audience, the audience for my soap making is at the hospital. All the nurses and the doctors and the cleaning people and whatever else department purchase from me. They buy skincare products from me. What are the odds? This hospital does a fair and for employees, and so I get to sell, and that's the like big bulk of my audience and my customers. That I was finding solutions for people where I was telling the Lord I wanted to be because my heart wasn't in retail. So then this really encouraged me, and then my business blew up. But apart from the soap, what else was the Lord trying to teach me? I was about to go into a storm because I thought everything was fine and dandy. So to this day, I still don't know why this happened. But then when I moved to Texas, I broke out with horrible acne. And around that time, I started taking a new supplement. And I don't know, it's just different factors. Was it a new environment? Was it a new supplement? But I broke out with acne. And I do not have chronic acne or whatever. So then I took it upon myself. I was like, I'm a pharmacist. I love creating things. Can I help myself? Yeah, I want to support someone else's business, but the Lord has blessed my hands too. So I started researching and experimenting, and one day I made a cream, and I loved it. I was successful, and then I made like two other products. But then with those three products or so, I started applying to my face for about a month. I started seeing changes, and then over 6 months, this acne was gone. Like I kept breaking out in the same place, like here, breaking out, breaking out, breaking out. It would go and come, and then it spread all over. It felt like a spiritual attack in some way, but then I was going to overcome because of the Lord's blessing. Everything worked out great. So then I felt strengthened and encouraged that maybe this is what the Lord wants me to do. So I stuck with it. I've worked really hard, and now I have an established brand where I make cosmetics. I make clean beauty, more with products on a natural leaning side, and I enjoy what I do. Um, so that's my testimony, really. That's what I've been doing for the past 6 years or so, figuring out the Lord's path for me. And I wanted to read some Bible verses and talk about it because I cannot talk or make a video without sharing the Lord's word. Um, Okay, so James 2:17. In the same way, faith by itself, even it is not accompanied by action, is dead. So I had so much faith, but I had to like take that necessary steps, even though it didn't make any sense to me. The Lord had a plan and a future for me, and yeah, it didn't make sense to anyone why I'm moving to a place I don't know anyone, but it was way beyond me. I Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Want to see the evidence of my faith? This is the first product I made. It's that cream. Out of my faith, God planted my feet where He wanted me to, and I was able to create something that's gonna be helpful to the public through my background, through the credibility I have through my background, through the gifts and the talents He's given me. I'm able to now connect the two. I'm able to now connect art and um, clinical stuff, and I'm at peace. I'm really at peace. And one last Bible verse I want to share. Did I have one last Bible verse? No, those were the two I wrote about. But I get new ideas all the time, and I really want to encourage you that if there's a pressure, at least that's how I feel the Lord speak to me, where there's something I don't want to do because it doesn't make sense or I'm afraid, that means the Lord is in it because it's much bigger than me. And I want to encourage you that the Lord shouldn't be placed in a box. He can see from P through Z. You can see A through E, maybe. But He sees the end of the story, and He is going to be with you, and He's got you. So trust me, but trust the Lord even more. Um, so visit my website, Sylvia's Artistry. Here's my little logo I made. Isn't it so cute? And right now I'm in the phase of writing ebooks, and I one part of my business I really love is being able to educate people and teach people about skincare. Um, I've gone through two schools where I've learned more about cosmetics, and I've gotten diplomas and certificates. So I really know what I'm talking about. Trust me, girl. Trust me. I really know what I'm talking about, and I really want you to learn from me because the Lord has equipped me with everything I need to be able to do His will, and this is the purpose He has for me. So be it. So check out my website, sylviasartistry.com, and write something for me. Message me. I'll have all my contact information below. See you guys in the next video. Bye.